All right, welcome everyone. Call the December meeting of the Airport Special Management Committee together. At this time, will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, brings us to the consent agenda. I have a comment card on the consent agenda, but I only have one. Is there, first off, before I call Marcia up, is there anyone else who wants to speak on the consent agenda? Okay, Marcia, you got the floor.
Thank you. Members of the board, it's great to make it here for a second time, find the location, though I think for a while I was driving parallel with the runway. I'm just speaking about from the consent agenda in the meeting minutes. I still have some questions regarding item number 20 from the administrative agenda from last time. Trying to seek a bit more clarity about the lands for study that were brought forth in the meeting as documented in the meeting minutes last time.
Excuse me one second,
Yes.
please. You're speaking about item 20 from last month's meeting?
Yes, as documented in the meeting minutes. I'm just asking,
Okay, well, go ahead. I don't have it in front of me as
No,
the
Yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry. Need a ruling from the
It
attorney.
has to be on the consent agenda, and there is no item on the consent agenda regarding that issue.
Right, I just printed the minutes, and I'm still becoming familiar with, first of all, how to get here, and second of all, how to access the information. So I just printed it's on page 8 of 15 as it appeared on the agenda for today. When I clicked on the green sheets and the accompanying items on the minutes,
Right.
I'm just,
That's from last
yes.
month? Okay, so what you will need to do is at the end of the meeting, when there's I'm thinking there's an open mic night, like downtown.
Sure.
That's when you would bring that.
Yeah, I saw that and I signed up for that as well. As I said, I'm just navigating. That was the one,
All
that
right,
was the
well,
item that I pulled.
We appreciate it.
Sure.
So since it's on last month's consent agenda, and this is to speak on this month's consent agenda, then you may speak about that matter when I call it right at the end before we leave.
Right, I just saw that the minutes approval was part of the consent
Want
agenda.
to speak about the minutes approval?
That's all that's all what I'm
Okay,
trying to
go
speak
ahead.
about.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's quite all right.
Return
So,
some of her time, please.
yeah, sure. And
Go ahead.
yeah, I'm just speaking in regard to what was documented as in the minutes from
Okay, go
that
right
item
ahead.
20. All I'm asking is how to find some clarity on that particular item as it's documented in the minutes. That's all I'm asking.
So I'm not understanding what you're saying.
So I'm just asking for whom I can speak in regard to the item 20 as documented in the minutes from the October 17th, 2023 meeting, which was about the amendment for the professional services regarding a land study, because I just want to find out what land is being studied, that's all.
That will be come back up at the end and you can ask us and I'll try to answer the best of my ability.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, so that was public comment on the consent agenda. Does anyone have any items they wish to pull from the consent agenda? Seeing none. Okay, all those in favor of I don't have a motion yet.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second, back it up.
All right. All those in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the administrative agenda. Brian?
Yes, good afternoon. For the record, Brian McGonigal. Let's see, now just let me open this. Thank you. Administrative item 13, we're requesting the board approve the fiscal year 22-23 rates and fees for the Southwest Florida International Airport and fee settlement and revenue sharing to the airlines as required. We bring this to the board every year. Throughout the year, the past year, we've been tracking passengers real closely. With Hurricane Ian, we were down quite a bit in passengers. At one point, we were down 18% to the prior year. We finished the year 13% down to prior year. This is ending September 30th. No, we were not surprised at all. We expected passengers to be down. We knew it would be. It's what we were reporting. And with the decrease in passengers, we saw a decrease in revenues, and particularly in the terminal. Less passengers in the terminal, less restaurant sales, less concession sales, less rent-a-cars. So there was a $4 million decrease in those categories. Fortunately for us, there were two categories that significantly were more than our projections. One of them was investment income. Interest interest is up. So interest we earned in the bank was $8 million more than what we originally planned. And also, we made $4 million more in the parking lot. Our parking lot, the demand remains really strong. So that kind of saved the day on the revenue side of the house. We were up with all revenues in, we were up $9 million. On the expense side, all the departments had a green light to spend all their operating budget. They spent approximately 95%. Again, not unusual to spend that. Usually we try to push them to spend 97, 98, but there was some supply chain issues. And, but we did see some savings in fuel and some in utilities. On the payroll side of the house, we had a $45 million payroll. We spent 100% of our payroll, about 99.5%, which is unusual. We usually, with vacancies, we usually spend about 96%. The reason we spent it all, just about, was hurricane disaster pay with Ian. We paid our employees 2.0. It was about 2.0 their rate, which came to about 1.2 million. They deserved it. They got us back up and running, so we're happy to do that. All in, the rates remained favorable to the airlines. They'll be happy. Our cost per EP, we budgeted a 735 cost. It came in a little bit low at 707. The airlines will get our 60% share is $6.5 million, and they're going to be getting their 40% share of $4.6 million. And also, this is the third year that we got CARES money. If you recall, we got 5 years of CARES money. This past year, we inserted $11 million of CARES, and it helped stabilize the rates too. So the auditors are done. They've reviewed all our numbers. They totally agree with what we have before you. And with the approval in January, at board approval, we plan on issuing checks to the airlines. So happy to take any questions if you have any.
Any questions? Well, I think you've done a great job considering the adversity and to come out
it was-
positive.
Yeah, it was a good year, despite, it really was.
I'll move the item. Second? Second. All right, got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of motion? Aye. Saying aye? Aye. Opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Brian, number 14?
Thank you. Number 14 is request board approve an extension with, it is with Staples. It's a Sourcewell cooperative agreement. Staples, we've had Staples in place since 2000. It's a great vendor of ours. We've got competitive pricing. This is a one-year extension that takes it from April of '24 to April of '25. We thought it was a great idea to exercise that one option. We spend about $130,000 a year on Staples.
All right.
Happy to take any questions.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
just a reminder to call for public comment. Thank you.
Got a motion?
I move the item.
Okay. Second? Second. Any public comment on 13 or 14?
13 or 14?
All right. Seeing none, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Very good. Okay, 15. Working you out today, buddy.
Mr. Chair, Mr.
Yes.
Chair, before Mr. McGonigal covers the highlights of it, I'd like to just make a few comments on
Yeah,
item.
please.
Yeah, on item 15, and actually 15, 16, and 17 are all the same agreements with the exception of the name and the amount of space that they're leasing. I just want to, first, I want to compliment our team, which was really Brian, Mark Fisher, myself, and Ed Moran and Dave Amdor, who really, led the efforts here in the negotiation of this deal. It's a one-year extension of our current use agreement and then a 10-year new deal that we've negotiated. It was about a 2-year effort, and really, I've probably been involved now negotiated three use agreements with the airlines, and this by far is the strongest agreement that I think we've brought before you and will be bringing forward to the board. We're very, very happy with what we have, and it really sets the stage, I think, for a really great future, in terms of our capital development program and stabilizing our financial health, if you will, over the next 10 years. We've got a lot on our plate, and this agreement will really stabilize things and allow us to get to the market and get what we need to be able to build and meet the demands of the community and meet the needs of the community. So we're really, really excited about it. But with that, I'd let Mr.
All
McGonigal
right.
highlight the agreement.
Yeah, thank you. So like Ben said, we're real excited about this deal. It does create financial stability for us, for our long-term CIP program. And the most important thing it does is it allows us to bid currently we have Concourse E, which is it's under design of 8 gates. This is gonna allow us to immediately pivot and bid to 14 gates. So we're really excited about it. The airlines want it. They want the 14 gates. They're committed to us. They're committed to the market. And I'll just highlight a couple of kind of the big changes that we did. Like Ben said, we're going to extend the current agreement that we're in right now to the end of this year, and then we're going to go right to a brand-new 10-year agreement. Some of the changes that we did that we've negotiated over a couple of years, we replaced the minimum space requirement. Prior signatory airlines had to lease a minimum of 4,000 square feet. We changed that to a dollar amount of 1.2 million. We saw a lot of airports going that way. Plus, we are space constrained right now, so their minimum is now you have to pay us minimum of 1.2 million a year instead of a minimum space. We established what we call the BHS cost center, baggage handling cost center. Our BHS system costs about $4 million a year to run. We were not recouping 100% of that. Now we have a specific cost center to get every dime of what that costs back through an employment calculation. And when we introduced this to the airlines, they're seeing it everywhere. This is nothing new to them. They expected us to do it. We increased the threshold for capital expenditures. Right now, any one item that's $100,000, we amortize it back to the airlines. We increased that to $300,000. We're agreeing to that. And also, they asked for us throughout the 10 years, in the middle of the 10 years, after 5 years, can we give space back? And we agreed. It was about 25% back, Dave? 50%? 25. So if an airline comes to us after 5 years and say, I really want to give back space, we're going to allow them to do it, but no more than 25%. And those are the revenue sharing, we tweaked a little bit. And right now, our revenue sharing is 60-40, if you recall. So during this 10-year agreement, we negotiated 30-70, 70 to us, 30 to them for the first 3 years, and then back to 60-40 for the remaining 7 years. So it's a great agreement. We're real excited about it. They guarantee our bottom line for our CIP program. So
Great. Okay, go ahead, Noel.
As part of the agreement, are there a specified number of flights that they actually have to make through this airport?
no,
So it doesn't ensure that they're going to continue to use
but turns
the
is
same routes.
4 turns per gate. Yep.
also work with the non-solicited lease.
So they are required to, on an average, to have 4 flights per day per gate, but not a guaranteed number of passengers, if I'm
Okay.
answering your question, and a guaranteed of 1.2 million.
Okay,
Yep,
thank you.
yep.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Just comment, I really say these contracts really say these airlines want to be here and want to be flying into Southwest Florida to enter into something like this, because this is just phenomenal, very good changes for everyone, but especially for our port.
Yeah.
And so I think that's to be recognized and known as, that's just going to impact EVO, everything around us, property values, et cetera, because for them to make a commitment, they see the future here to be doing this, so. commend-
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, if I may, I mean, they're making 10-year commitments, to, really 11-year commitments to the market. And one of the things that I wanted to just highlight that Brian brought up, when we talked about, they used to have a requirement to lease a certain amount of space. Well, in an airport like us, where a lot of the space is now being taken up, and you let the airlines and require the airlines to take so much space to be a signatory airline, that can actually work against you, and that's why we converted it to a dollar amount. And it also, by doing that, allowed other airlines like a Frontier and a Sun Country and those types of airlines to now become signatory airlines, which Sun Country was, but it allowed them to not required to take the space, and if we didn't have the space, then they couldn't meet the minimum requirements.
Right.
So you have airlines like Sun Country and Frontier now that have made 10-year commitments. They were signatory airlines, but they had signed on at the end of this agreement, so they really hadn't made long-term commitments, but now they are. And I think it bodes well to your point, Robbie, it bodes well to the market. We have we ultimately will have 8 airlines that are making long-term commitments to our market.
So if we get 25% of their space back, should one of them return that, we can then go rent it out for a profit to somebody that wants
Absolutely.
more space.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So we're always needing space, so I don't know who would give it back, but if they did, no problem. Thank you. Rates are higher just 5 years later. All right, any other comments? All right, any public comment on 15 only? We've been talking about 3 of them, but we're only talking about 15 right now. Seeing none? Okay,
I'll move
take a
the
motion.
item.
All right, John, thank you.
Second.
Robbie, thank you. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Move on to 16. Scott, you have much more to say?
Brian.
I mean, Brian, do you have much more to say?
Oh, I'm looking for Scott Cameron.
I don't know why I
15,
said
16, and 17 are exactly the same.
Yes,
So I have nothing else to say.
no further
They're
comment.
Exactly the same.
Okay, any,
I'll move item 16.
okay, let me ask for public
Okay.
comment on 16. All right, seeing none, I'll take the motion from John.
I'll take another second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? 17? Brian?
Same thing.
All
please.
right.
This one. This
Public
one is
comment on
United.
17. All right. Seeing none?
I'll move the item.
All right.
I'll second.
Well, you're just seconding the way today. Okay. We got a motion and a second. Any other comments from the board? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
Thank you.
unanimous. Go to 18. That's Stephen.
For the record, Stephen Hennigan. Number 18 is a request for the board to approve a piggyback agreement with Galls, utilizing pricing from the City of Tallahassee contract. This is going to be for the purchase of police department uniforms and equipment. It's a 3-year initial agreement with 2 one-year extensions, and it allows our police force to stay up to date with the latest equipment at excellent contracted pricing. Any questions?
And look sharp,
And look sharp.
look sharp, their uniforms.
All right. Any public comment first? All right, seeing none?
How often do you have to replace their uniforms?
We're on a yearly cycle because, to Robbie's point, we do like them to look sharp, but, it ebbs and flows based on what they've got going on. But we have a yearly budgeted allocation that's approved by the board.
Do we, pay for dry cleaning
We do,
we do?
yes.
All right. Any other comments? Make a motion?
So moved.
All right. Dana, second? Second. John, thank you. All right, any further discussion?
Public comment.
All right.
Public comment.
Oh, I think I did before we started, but I'll take public
Oh,
comment.
okay. We
In
didn't
public-
hear that.
It's
okay.
We may look like idiots up here, and I apologize, but it's a new rule to make public comment on every item of the administrative agenda, and it's, after all these years, it's hard for us to actually, old dog, new trick kind of thing. So, I apologize. Public comment on 18. Okay, seeing none. Motion's on the floor, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, Emily, number 19.
Good afternoon, everyone. Emily Underhill for the record. Item 19 deals with on-call environmental planning consulting agreement. At the November joint board meeting, the board endorsed the ranking of the top 2 firms to perform planning and environmental services under a continuing contract. Passarella and Associates was ranked as the #1 top-ranked firm, and as a result, staff has negotiated a 3-year contract with Passarella. Pursuant to FAA guidelines, any work that receives federal funding will be assigned to the top-ranked firm, Passarella and Associates. At this time, staff recommends approval of a contract with Passarella and Associates. Any individual task above board thresholds will be brought before the Special Management Committee and the board for approval.
Okay, I do have a public comment on item 19 of the administrative agenda. Ms. Ellis?
Marcia Ellis for the record. Yes, I'm commenting on this contract. When I reviewed the green sheet and the attached paperwork and review of the scope of services in the professional services agreement, on page 22, Article 26, Conflict of Interest 26.1, it states, "The consultant therefore agrees not to perform any work for a third party related to development of the airport, nor perform any work related to any property directly abutting either the airport boundary, the boundary of the airport mitigation park, within the runway protection zone of the airport, or within South Florida International Airport noise overlay zone." There is a conflict of interest, as Passarella is actively representing and has represented Lennar through the Daniels South property, which is in the noise zone, has also represented Vulcan through some of the conservation easements historically that I've reviewed in other development packets. So the one in relation to the noise overlay zone with Lennar, I think really is the most pressing. So there is a conflict of interest there. And I wanted to bring it to the attention of the board. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, number 19, anybody want to move the item?
I'll move the item.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Dying over here. Okay, any comments now from the committee concerning 19? All right, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Emily, you're on number 20 as well.
All right, thank you. Item number 20. As mentioned in the prior item, at the November Joint Board meeting, the board endorsed the ranking of the top 2 firms to perform planning and environmental services under a continuing contract. Johnson Engineering ranked as the second most qualified firm. As it is the intent to award this contract to 2 firms, staff has negotiated a 3-year contract with Johnson Engineering as well to provide planning and environmental services through a continuing contract. At this time, staff requests approval of a contract with Johnson Engineering, and any individual task above board thresholds will be brought before the Special Management Committee and the board for approval.
Okay, I do have a public comment again. Ms. Ellis?
Thank you, Marcia Ellis, for the record. My comments are really similar, though there was no professional agreement for me to go through or a stated conflict of interest within the scope of work. There are concerns in so much as that Johnson Engineering is providing environmental services on other projects that are directly within proximity of the airport in regard to a LECO connector, the siting of a wastewater plant, et cetera. So I do see a conflict of interest in regard to other projects that I think would be better served with some separation so that the environmental impacts could be looked at from fresh eyes. I'm just pointing out that we have a lot of development happening in this area and a great deal of concern for our natural resources, our environmental resources, our wildlife. And I would like to see those resources looked at with fresh eyes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on 20? All right. No?
I'd like to ask the county attorney if you would comment as to whether or not we have a conflict of interest here in terms of this company providing other consulting services for other people not on the airport property.
Procurement always reviews that to ensure there's no conflict, and they have not advised there's any conflict whatsoever.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I move the item.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Dana? Good. All right. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Number 21.
All right, item number 21. This item is seeking approval to accept an FDOT fiscal year 23-24 grant to be used for eligible costs under the RSW Terminal Expansion Project that is currently under construction. Port Authority staff continues to work with FDOT to program additional funds to reduce the Port Authority's costs associated with this project. This money supplements prior grants that were previously received. This brings FDOT's participation to date totaling $54,898,121. Staff recommends approval accepting this grant in the amount of $15,296,066.
All right. Any public comment on 21? All right. Take a motion, I guess?
I'll make the motion.
All right.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion on 21? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Emily, you're still?
Yes, item number 22.
Thank you.
This item is seeking approval to accept an FDOT grant to be used for eligible costs under the RSW Runway 624 Rehabilitation Project, whereby the recently selected A&E consultant will begin project formulation efforts. This amendment adds $125,705 in state funds in fiscal year 23-24 to be used towards 50% of the eligible cost for the preliminary design of the rehabilitation of Runway 624 project. Port Authority staff continues to work with FDOT to program additional funding for design and construction costs associated with this project. This brings FDOT's participation to date totaling $163,205. Staff recommends approval accepting this grant in the amount of $125,705.
Okay, public comment on 22? All right,
I'll move the item.
I'll second.
all right. Any discussion from the committee? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous as well. 23.
Item number 23 is related to RSW BHS enhancements. In 2016, the legacy baggage handling system at the Southwest Florida International Airport underwent an optimization and recapitalization program, which was initiated to improve the system's efficiency and throughput. Since those 2016 improvements, RSW has seen increased baggage volume through an aging baggage handling system. In 2023, the Port Authority retained its consultant to prepare a BHS improvement study report, which provided a high-level pre-engineering report with estimated costs to implement various system improvements. The main objective of the recommended efforts is to provide operational assurance that legacy system operations will be sustained in the short term until the new Concourse E baggage handling systems are online and operational. The Port Authority, along with DeFuco, who's the entity that holds the operations and maintenance contract for the BHS system, have concurred with the suggested improvements. In order to provide a design for these upgrades, staff has negotiated a design scope of work with Michael Baker, Inc. Staff asks that the special management approve this contract amendment with Michael Baker totaling $236,612 to perform these design services.
Okay. Public comment. All right.
Move the motion.
Dana, I'll make a motion.
I'll
Second.
move the item.
Dana already did. You want a second? Second. John seconds. Okay, any discussion on 23? All right, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? We're just working you out today.
Item number 24 deals with Page Field Fuel Farm improvements. Page Field Airport has recently seen a continuous increase in fuel demand from users of the airport. As previously approved by the board, a design for a new 30,000-gallon Jet A tank and required accessories and concrete structures has been completed. Owen Ames Kimball, acting as the board-selected CMGC, has completed pre-construction services and has successfully bid the project. Staff asks that the Special Management Committee first endorse the contract amendment in the amount of $1,588,436.40 to provide for fuel farm improvements, and secondly, approve a total project budget in the amount of $2,001,693.40.
Okay, public comment on 24. All right,
So moved.
committee, you making a motion? All right, second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. 25.
Okay, the last item, item number 25. This past October, the Airport Special Management Committee shortlisted 3 CMGC firms for further consideration to provide construction management, general contracting services for a new public safety building at RSW to house various Airport Police Department and emergency operations functions. At the same meeting, the Airport Special Management Committee also recommended that oral presentations be heard by 3 firms at a later meeting and drew the following order for presentations. First, Half Acre Construction. Second, Stevens Construction. And third, DeAngelis Diamond Construction. Today, those 3 firms are prepared to present their resume and qualifications for your consideration. The firm you recommend for selection will enter into a contract with the Port Authority and will act as the construction manager, general contractor, performing pre-construction services during the remainder of the design process, and then ultimately construct the facility. So if there are no further questions, I would ask Melissa to come forward to begin the presentations.
All right, Melissa?
Good afternoon, Melissa Wendell, Senior Procurement Manager for Lee County Port Authority. As Ms. Underhill stated, we have 3 respondents who provided qualifications to the Port Authority in response to LOQ 2404, which is for Construction Manager, General Contractor Services for Southwest Florida International Airport Public Safety Building. Each proposer will have 10 minutes for a presentation, followed by unlimited time for Airport Special Management Committee questions. Once all questions are addressed, the proposer will conclude by providing a 1-minute summary. So at this time, I would like to introduce the first respondent, Half Acre Construction, and on behalf of Half Acre, Craig Emery, Senior Project Manager.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Which way is forward?
This way?
Where's she at?
All right, we ready? We ready, Deb? Okay, go ahead, John.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you all very much for your consideration of our firm. We are Half Acre Construction Company. I'd like to introduce you to our team. My name is Tom Reese. I am Vice President and a partner at Half Acre Construction Company. I'm going to be serving as the project executive. Eric Graham is our Director of Community and Business Diversity. Craig Emery is our Director of Operations for Southwest Florida. He will serve as your Senior Project Manager. And Frank Bell is our on-site project superintendent. This is an overview of our agenda.
We're going to talk about roles and responsibilities, our qualifications, our pre-construction and construction approach, and basically why Half Acre.
In number 1, our team roles and responsibilities. The Lee County Port Authority obviously will serve as the owner. Schenkel Schultz has been selected as the design team for this project. As I mentioned, I will serve as the project executive with assistance from Jack Cox, our company president. Our pre-construction team will be led by Reed Guyson, who is our Director of Pre-Construction, and Eric Graham, our Director of Community and Business Diversity. Craig Emery is our Senior Project Management. Craig will be assisted by a number of seasoned professionals, and our on-site construction team is Frank Bell, with assistance from Jim Nikolazakis. In our firm qualifications, our firm has been on the Gulf Coast of Florida for over 54 years. We have over 48 full-time employees. Our local office serving this project will be out of Punta Gorda, and we have successfully completed over 20 Lee County and RSW airport projects, and also 5 public safety projects on the Gulf Coast of Florida.
So we're the team you know. We just finished up out here with continuing contracts, the 20-plus contracts that we're talking about. So we have extensive knowledge of RSW. I've completed at least 3 public safety projects and EOCs and numerous fire stations and police-type projects. We have a keen understanding of your project. We've learned a lot from the past LCPA projects, and we have a pretty keen understanding of what requirements go into a building like this. These are a few examples of the kind of projects we've finished. We've got some law enforcement projects, the SRQ Tower, the Punta Gorda Tower, I built myself. The Emergency Operations Tower, I built myself. I've got about 38 years in the construction industry. The Emergency Operations Center also houses an E911 center and dispatch centers, which would equate to some of the things you have in this building. So understanding your project, we understand it to be about a 15,000 to 17,000 square foot building, about $15 million that will house the Airport Police Administration operations and secondary space for the airport ID and airport communications dispatch. So we intend to be involved as a CM from the design phase all the way through continuing construction. So the lessons that we've learned through LCPA, right now we've worked on 20+ projects. We understand the procurement process, the professional service agreement, the lump sum negotiation, or the fees and lump sum negotiations. We're familiar with the different FAA advisory circulars, airport operations requirements for construction on a project, and some of the various other DBE reporting, construction safety phasing plan development, and everything it requires to get a construction project moving. This particular project we think is going to have security, access control, some radio communications. Most of the people up here have been badged before. We understand the sensitive areas of a building like this, the sterile, the non-sterile areas, how to integrate building access control to that. So we don't expect to see any surprises as we get involved in a project like this. Our pre-construction approach starts with the task assignment we get from Lee County Port Authority to develop the project scope development for design and assistance and bidding procurement. And once we negotiate that fee for pre-construction, we'll get into helping the design professionals in cost estimating, value engineering, constructability reviews, and scheduling. Then we'll develop the project manual that'll go out for bidding that will have all the information in it for our bidders. And most importantly, as part of that project book, we believe that developing very clearly defined bid scopes in that book is what sets us apart, which will help reduce the possibility of change orders as we move forward. It'll expedite the process of generating contracts, and it'll aid in the development of the final selection of those bidders. Then we'll move through the construction phase fee negotiation, the total budget development, and the last task would be the fee approval by the board for contract amendment and construction moving forward. Eric's going to talk a little bit about our DBE.
We're just going to cover two pillars of our DBE program. One is our outreach and the other is our development. You notice that we do mention Tom as a member of Gulf Coast Builders Exchange because that's significant. He handles the subcontractors' woes and angst, brings that back to Half Acre, and we massage things so that our subcontractors are satisfied and we retain them well, whether DBE or otherwise. We do have a partnership, a memorandum of agreement Half Acre has with the Minority Business Development Agency. What that means to this project is when we hold our outreach meetings, they will not only be co-hosts, but they will serve as those who send out invitations as well, just in case we don't have a DBE in our database. In the next slide, you'll notice that I'm a member of the Minority Enterprise Development Corps. I'm on the board. For a year, we've been handling what is a transportation bridge. We want to make sure there's an outreach for transportation. We want to make sure the bridge is there. So we just had that. Some of you can see clear enough to see people on that panel that you recognize. But we just had that night 6 months ago. We'll bring all of that information and all of those lessons learned into this project, which basically means that you'll have a larger DBE database, increased DBE vendor competition, and usually that results in lower prices for the owner. Final one is just one of the projects we have. You see 60%. That's a great number, but it's not because of the 60%. Waimama is a very depleted, depressed area. So when we finished the project, Half Acre never left. We're still there supporting the school and the community because we know that's what it takes to bring everybody up.
Okay, I talked a little bit about our construction approach. This slide just basically shows we use a Procore web-based document control system. What we can take away from this slide is both the Lee County Port Authority and ourselves can access this. It works. It houses everything from information from our bidding process through construction, through punch out, our contract invoicing, all the way through closeout. So it's a one-stop repository. We believe that communication during construction is very important. We have all kinds of meetings, weekly meetings, OAC meetings, as needed impromptu meetings, safety meetings, quality control, pre-construction meetings, meetings all the time just for communication. We've taken a look at the site logistics on this project. We believe that off Daniels Parkway would probably be the most common entrance. There are two ways, obviously, that we could get in through this project. This area we would probably use more for cranes and things like that. We've also kind of looked at the proposed location and possible staging areas. The key here is that they would be away from the AOA area, and we would try to keep dust down and lights and things like that. Those would all be communicated in the safety plan. This slide just kind of gives us an idea. We would provide a very detailed, complex schedule that contains multiple tasks. I talked about safety. It's our number one priority. We've used the construction safety phasing plan before with Lee County Port Authority. With this building being outside the AOA, it might not be a requirement for that, but I would still kind of push to use it. We did that in PowerPoint presentations in conjunction with the Lee County Port Authority on some of the past projects, and I just think it works really well. Quality control and commissioning starts with our submittal reviews, moves throughout the entire project. One thing I wanted to say as a takeaway on this slide, when we built the SRQ tower, we worked with the QA/QC of the FAA that were on site every day. So if that's a requirement here, we can do that as well. We have experience with that. This slide here just kind of indicates everything from occupancy through closeout and warranty and all the different processes involved with that, and all that information being housed in our Procore repository.
And why half acre? Well, as you can see from our presentation, we have extensive experience at RSW and public safety projects. We have a thorough understanding of your airport and the local conditions. We have proven success with Lee County Port Authority. We have a demonstrated commitment to using DBE, MWE subcontractors, and we have currently completed all of our LCPA projects. This team is ready to move on to this one, and we greatly appreciate you hearing us out this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
And we're on schedule.
Go ahead, Noel.
Do you see any special features that need to be designed into this building that you're familiar with?
Well, I would say security and you know the difference between sterile and non-sterile areas in this building. You'll probably have a difference in security and parking, both public and non-public parking. You have the possibility of I don't know if you would have any kind of thing as intense as like a drug lab or something like that in the building, but I think it would be important to be able to separate sterile and non-sterile areas through access control in a similar way that you do other areas of the airport. So I think that would be important, yeah. And then, of course, any type of problems that we might have associated with radio communications or things like that would have to be kind of thought about a little bit for the dispatch that's going in that building. Like I said, I built the public safety building in Charlotte County, and it has E911 in the building. So in order to do that, there were some special radio and antenna things that needed to be done to the building, and cabling, structured cabling, and things like that. So it's just important to be able to look at that and talk through it with the different consultants that would be involved in it.
How long do you think it will take to build this building, and do you have connections with your supply chain so that you'll be able to access the materials needed?
Well, it kind of depends on the building. We're familiar with a variety of different types of construction. This building might lend itself pretty well to tilt-up just because it's rectangular and there's not a lot of stuff going on in the slab. We do have projects that are kind of a hybrid between a pre-engineered metal building and a regular traditional CMU or tilt-up type building. We have some special arrangements with some of the pre-engineered metal building companies that allow us to get things out in front and designs and procurement of materials a little bit faster. We also have the ability to house some materials when we have a problem with delivery times or something like that. We actually had a slide that, in the interest of time, we took out that was just a understanding of procurement. I mean, things are better now than they were a year ago, but they're still expensive. Procurement is still an issue that we need to deal with, and we need to make sure that we get those things out front, and if we can buy them early and house them ourselves, or find a place on site or something like that, we're used to doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Could you give me a time frame on how long this project would take in your mind?
I think once we got through design, it would probably be a 12-month project.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, 1 minute, right? Wrap up.
Yeah, again, just want to thank all of you for consideration for this project. We've really enjoyed working with the Lee County Port Authority on our continuing services projects. You have a great team here. We spent a lot of time learning and developing the procedures for your projects. We'd love to bring that expertise to this project. I think we're going to bring you a great team with a lot of very relevant project experience. And you have a firm that's been here over 50-some years. And as an owner of the company, would be personally dedicated to your project. And we just appreciate the opportunity to present to you today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I have a second, I'd just like to follow up as well and say I've worked with the people here at the Lee County Port Authority on the recent projects that we've had. We've had really good relationships. I think we could continue to have those type of relationships. And we've got a lot of experience we bring to the table. I've got about 38 years. Frank has 50-some, I won't go into. But we've got a lot of experience in the airport and law enforcement type projects.
What's your largest project you've done for Lee County Port Authority?
That I've done for Lee
That
County Port Authority?
half-acre construction is done.
Well, they were all part of the continuing contracts, so I would have to say probably $2 or $3 million off the top of my head.
Okay, that's good. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, at this time, I'd like to invite our second presenter, representing Stevens Construction. I'd like to introduce you to Jay Wolf, Project Manager.
All right, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Jay Wolf. I'm the project manager for Stevens Construction, who will be leading the team through the design process, costing, and construction of this new public safety facility. I was excited when Dan Adams asked me to lead this team. I believe most of you know Dan from his time prior to joining Stevens Construction. He spoke highly of his experiences with the Lee County Port Authority. We've been looking for opportunities to work with the Lee County Port Authority. We have a client-oriented approach to every project that we do. We feel that this project is our best opportunity to develop a relationship with you, so we sincerely appreciate the opportunity to be here today. A little bit about our company. Stevens Construction is founded and based right here in Lee County, our corporate office in Fort Myers. We have offices in Orlando and Sarasota. We pride ourselves on developing long-lasting relationships with our clients and our subcontractors. We have knowledge of the local market, knowledge of the permit and approval process, and a vast network of subcontractors from the area that we team with. Again, we're based here in Lee County, and we are committed to the betterment of the local economy. Just some numbers here about us. We are a 100% construction management firm. This is what we do. This is what we specialize in. 84% of our revenue is generated here in Southwest Florida, the majority of that coming from Lee County. In our 20-year history, we've completed over $800 million worth of construction projects, with the majority of those, again, right here in Lee County. We've completed 13 municipality projects. We have 72 team members. We were recently voted one of Southwest Florida's best places to work, and we've earned well over 100 different awards for projects in Southwest Florida. These are great numbers, but 0 Lee County Port Authority projects completed is what we would like to change. Normally, we wouldn't point that out as a sales pitch for our company, but this project, accompanied with your willingness to expand your base of qualified contractors, makes this the best opportunity for us to join your team. We've recognized the growth out here at RSW, and we'd certainly like to be a part of it. We've been looking for the right opportunity to match our strategy, our company strategy, which is to complete projects that we have a proven track record of being successful with. We tend to stick with that and specialize in it. This facility is a perfect example of that. It's what we consistently complete. We didn't really want to start with a $100 million project. That's not our cup of tea. But as a company, we certainly are capable of doing that, and projects like that. We have experienced employees. We have a great project controls. But it just makes better sense for us to stay in our lane this first time around and expand opportunities that we can gain experience in and develop a relationship. Your project, this is going to be a lump sum contract, which I know you know that this is going to be just under 20,000 square foot facility. This is what we specialize in. We do a lot of these kind of projects. This project's at RSW Emergency Operations Center. It's going to house the police and administrative offices as well as some other offices. This facility is going to be designed for future expansion. As you grow, this project can grow. We've been on the site. We've looked at the site logistics. We've recognized the site conditions. Over the last couple of years, we've built several projects like this, 4 of which I've been a part of. As I mentioned earlier, we've completed 13 municipality projects, and this slide shows one of them. This is the Fire Station 17, located off 6 Mile Cypress. And not only did we deliver a spectacular, really a beautiful project, our pre-con department found a significant amount of savings through the pre-construction process. Our team takes pride in cost savings opportunities without cutting the quality or the intent of the design team. Our Stevens team members, I'm going to start with Jeff Brunderman. He's approaching 40 years experience. He's completed multiple municipality projects, worked for Sarasota Airport Authority, and was a superintendent on the Hendry County EOC facility. Our general superintendent, Dan Kenyon, with just over 30 years experience, he actually built the Lee County EOC and will serve as another set of eyes on this project. That's a lot of EOC experience on our behalf. Our Director of Pre-Construction Services is Nick Burkle with over 20 years experience, and he leads an exceptional group in our pre-con department. Our Executive Vice President and partner, Dan Adams, closing in on 25 years experience. Dan had his start working with the Lee County Port Authority and used the processes that he learned here in his experience to train our team. A lot of our standard operating procedures are based on his experience. I have over 30 years experience as a project manager and have airport experience back in my home state of Indiana. As I mentioned, I've been a project manager on several projects like this. I'm currently working on a 27,000 square foot project that's due to be complete in April, and another 20,000 square foot project, as an example, would be our office. You can see from our industry experience, we have varying degrees of municipality projects under our belt and projects just like this. Again, we're a local team. Dan Kenyon and I are 10 minutes from this job site. A little bit about our process. There's 3 phases to it. But first, we own the responsibility to lead the team through the design to the completion of this project. We work closely and collaborate with the design team and you as the user. We want to understand the functionality needs and make sure they're implemented into the design. The end goal here is to create the most efficient, cost-effective facility that at a minimum meets the requirements of the scope of services, and this will happen under our leadership. There's 3 phases. This first phase in design can be broken down into 3 smaller ones. Schematic, this is where we'll establish our budget parameters, create an overall project schedule with milestones that we can track. We'll start looking at construction materials and systems that align with the building functionality and budget as well as schedule requirements. We'll then move into the design development stage. This is where we develop a full-blown project estimate, and we'll take those plans and share those with our trade partners so that we're on target with building systems and our budgeting. We'll look at constructability issues, value engineering opportunities, and if we can, we'll even take the plans, get with the permitting agencies so that we can ask for their input and flesh that out so that we can incorporate that into the bid process. Then we'll get into construction documents, 100%. This is where we send it in for permitting. We'll get it out to bid, always looking at constructability reviews and make sure the design meets the intent. At this point, we'll have value engineering opportunities because we're expanding out to a broader base of bidders. We then get in the permit phase, which we all know that can take a considerable amount of time. We'll reach out to our over 400 network of subcontractors that we can get qualified bids. We'll do a formal presentation with you to show you how we arrive at that final cost, and it's completely open book. The construction phase is where we start monitoring their overall project. We'll start tracking to make sure we're hitting milestones that we established earlier, coordinate long lead items, and give you the overall health of the project. We share that information through our owner and architect contractor meetings, and we'll update the progress, talk about coordination issues, potential changes, and then at the end, provide every month, we give you a nice report on what's happened with the project. We use Procore to manage our documents. That's industry-wide software. That manages our drawings, our RFIs, our schedules, submittals, our quality control. We have daily reports and photos. All parties have access to that 24/7. Safety is a priority for our company. We have strong safety protocols. We do in-house reviews every day. We have a third-party company that comes and does random inspections of all of our job sites, generates a report that our executive team can review, make sure that we're always improving. Project closeout is another hard thing to get through. We generate our own punch list. We generate our own completion list before we ask the owners, the architects to come through and review our projects. As we get close and we get final inspections complete at the end, we'll want to meet the facilities team that you have, demonstrate all the procedures of the essential systems of this building, from training them on the fire alarm, security, electrical, plumbing, AC, and even down to the irrigation system. So then we'll turn over and have project closeout documents. And we all know that we have minority participation and disadvantaged business requirements to meet. We've got such a vast network of subcontractors that wouldn't and hasn't been a problem in the past. As an example, France Eye Care was a project we just completed. 9% of the proposals that we received were from DBE minority trade partners. So we're very confident we can meet the requirements. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
All right, thank you. Questions? Anybody got questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Robin.
Did I see, or do I remember, you did do, Stevens Construction has done the continuing services contracts with us, or no?
With the airport authority?
Uh-huh. Have you done that?
We have not, but Dan Adams had an extensive experience with that back, I believe, when he
Okay,
was with
that's
the Lee
where I was
County
at.
Port
In a
Authority.
past life.
In past life, yeah, prior to joining Stevens.
Gotcha, okay.
And
I
Dan,
thought
you're
I
more than
was-
welcome to come up if you want to ask some questions or answer any questions we might have, so.
Oh, no. I'm sure you got a lot of experience handling that type of agreement with us.
Yeah, we do, and, you know, again, this is a great opportunity for us to start that experience with you guys, you know, and develop that relationship, so.
Okay.
I've been waiting 15 years to come back. So we saw this as a great opportunity, perfect type of project that we build all day, every day. I've been arm wrestling with Mark Stevens for 15 years to chase some airport work, but it's been waiting for the right project, landside project, 20,000 square foot project, not the $100 million projects that we don't build. So this is the perfect type project for us to get our foot in the door.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Noel.
Have you built a police station before?
We've not built a police station, but we've built fire stations, several EOC buildings. We have a team that's built EOC buildings, and team members that have built police stations.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, you got a minute?
Got a minute, thank you. All right, so just to kind of recap, again, we're a Lee County company. We are an experienced construction management team with a proven construction process. We're We're financially strong, $200 million bonding capacity. Our ownership is, our ownership's heavily involved throughout all of our processes, all of our construction jobs. We've had no litigation since our inception. And I'd like to leave you with a final thought from item H of the evaluation criteria, which states, the authority desires to spread the work to qualified respondents when possible and offer opportunities to gain experience working with the Lee County Port Authority. We believe this statement, this project, and our experience gives us both the perfect opportunity to develop a long-lasting relationship. So we'd appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Transition. Other transition.
Hot coffee back there, I'm freezing. Hot coffee back there. Did they? Do you remember? Ben, you have hot coffee back there
Yeah.
still? Yeah. I'm freezing. Okay. Well, the chairman's away. Hold on.
Apparently.
I think we're taking a recess.
Yeah, did we?
Hello there.
Hi. I knew it'd be cold in here. I took an opportunity to wear my wool coat. I don't get many. I went to first time I wore it was, we had an outside Hanukkah party. Oh, yeah, about a week ago. Why we had it outside, I have no idea, but.
Another opportunity for you to wear your coat.
I haven't, I've worn it twice this year.
Wow.
I have not worn this thing in probably 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Just hangs in the closet, along with a lot of my coats. Huh? Warm your hand up. It's crazy.
I was glad he took a break.
These 10 minutes are better than the 45. I have all my heavy coats up at Cape Cod, so I had to go out. We're going to Connecticut.
Chairman.
So now I had, so I went out and had to buy a coat.
Oh, good, good.
We got four of them in Cape Cod, 'cause it's
All
always
right,
cold.
I'd like to introduce our third and final respondent today, representing DeAngelis Diamond. The final presentation is going to be led by Reggie Morgan, COO Principal.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. My name is Reggie Morgan, as Melissa mentioned. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Principal with DeAngelis Diamond. It's an honor to be here today. This is an exciting project, and over the next few minutes, we're excited to share our credentials with you and experience with projects just like this. So just a few fast facts. We've been here for 27 years in Southwest Florida. We've got a deep bench of resources, over 140 folks that reside right here in the area, and been in business 27 years and got great relationships with local trade partners. And obviously, we have worked with you all in the past and built your tower. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Josh. And my role is really simple. I'm going to support the team, make sure they have the tools and the resources that they need to be successful, and most of all, make sure it's an enjoyable experience.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm not quite as tall as Reggie. Good afternoon. I'm Josh Willard. I'm the Director of Operations for DeAngelis Diamond here in the Southwest Florida region. Got a fair amount of aviation experience in my background. A lot of that is right here at RSW. Very familiar with this campus. The tower, the air traffic control tower, one of my more favorite projects in my career to be a part of. I've got quite a bit of emergency operating center experience and public safety experience in my background. As you can see with the Cape Coral VA Hospital, it's a government building. That's a hardened facility, federal government work. I've been in Southwest Florida for about 35 years now. About 25 of those years have been in the construction industry right here in our backyard. So I've spent a great deal of time, both personally and professionally, at this airport. With that, I'll turn it over to our team lead. This is David Pulse.
Good afternoon, my name is David Poles. I'm a project executive with DeAngelis Diamond. As my role, I lead the team from all the way from pre-construction all the way through the construction process into closeout. I've been in the construction industry for over 26 years, many of those projects running from municipalities, life safety, fire stations, and also airport work. Most notably, I've been working here on this campus at RSW and also at the Naples Fire Station EOC that was just completed in 2019. We had a great video with Ingrid, but unfortunately it wasn't working. Ingrid couldn't be with us today. She had a already planned trip, so I will introduce her for you. I worked with Ingrid directly on multiple projects, most notably the Naples Fire Station EOC #1 that was just completed. She's a great, tremendous leader on day-to-day. She's got over 22 years of experience, and also importantly, she has worked here at RSW. Oh, I'm sorry. And then I want to just introduce our senior superintendent, Joe Schlegel. He has about 30 years of experience, over 30 years of experience, and he's currently at the Sarasota Terminal Airport Expansion Project.
Hi there, my name is Paris Smith-Higby. I am the Director of Quality Assurance, and I'll be assisting the team developing quality management plans that will meet or exceed your expectations. I am on this team because I have extensive work history in public safety sector and emergency management. And you'll see that what I plan on using is that experience to help this project through from beginning to end. So as a quality manager and as a subject matter expert in this, as a subject matter expert on this project, I will be working in all phases of the project from beginning to end. And quite simply, you'll have access to my skill set from the beginning of the project all the way through to the end of the project. And because I've worked in the public sector and I worked in emergency management, I understand the unique things that you're going to need to be doing to complete your missions inside of this building. And so before you move in, I will be able to help you with that. And I believe my 35 years of experience will greatly benefit this project. Thank you.
Paris is pretty phenomenal. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he's got the unique perspective of having an experience in pre-construction, construction, and the operations after the buildings were open. So that's pretty fantastic. Which leads me into our team continuity. That's something that we highlight here. We've all been working together for a very long time throughout multiple facets of our careers. We've done over $500,000 in projects together. We've worked together for over 16 years. Something that's pretty important to us, we're pretty proud of. As far as airport experience goes, we've got quite a bit of airport experience, again, right here on the RSW campus. It's very important to understand, the ins and outs of the airport, how to coordinate with everybody, what the do's and don'ts are, what the requirements are. Almost more importantly is the public safety aspect of this project. The aviation campus, very important. We need to understand where we need to coordinate, where we need to go, what we need to do, but public safety is what relates to this project directly. We've got a great deal of that experience as well. We've done the Pine Ridge Government Center, which houses actually law enforcement, EMS, and the fire department. We've done the Golden Gate Fire Station 73 and administration headquarters, a lot of the same components that you're going to have here in this fire station. We've done the Southwest Florida Regional Shelter up at Babcock, a lot of the hardened facility and emergency redundancy factors that you'll also have as part of this project. Marco Island Fire Station 51, high-profile project down on Marco Island, a lot of those same components as well. We're very well versed in the public safety sector, and as I mentioned, we have our subject matter expert here that's been actually working in that side of the field for 35 years of his life. Something else, experience comparison. How does our team relate to this project? Public safety. We have 50 million plus in public safety projects between us. We have 245 million in aviation projects. As I mentioned, that's very important. knowing the do's and don'ts of the airport in addition to that public safety component. Safety and security projects, we've done over $1 billion in safety and security projects relating from fire departments, emergency operations centers, to hospitals, and everything in between. Hardened buildings, 340 million plus in hardened buildings, very important, which relates directly to the emergency generator portion of the project. We've done over $500 million in emergency generator projects. And then finally, I'd like to point out the architectural collaboration. We've done a great deal of work with Schenkel Schultz, over $75 million worth of work with Schenkel Schultz. We've got a great partnership with them and have always had a successful relationship. And with that, I will turn over to David for some more specific things on this project.
So I'll lead the operations team all the way through pre-construction through closeout. And the most important thing is pre-construction. As you see, 90% of your construction costs are determined during the pre-construction process. And we think we are industry leaders when it comes to pre-construction. And that's because of our robust pre-con department. We have 18 people on our staff, and majority of them are here locally here in Naples. And it's led by Brian Turton, who's our Vice President of Pre-Construction. DBE participation is obviously very important. I'm happy to say that we were the first CM to use the B2G Now software. But besides that, it's not just about a number. We want to mentor and guide and coach these younger and DBE suppliers to facilitate and be a part of the team. We put together a site logistics plan to just a high level of where the flow of construction is. We really think it's important to keep the traffic off from the main road and come in from Daniels. And then we put a timeline together for about 12 months for the overall duration. We have a lot of technology tools in our toolbox. 2 of them right there are OpenSpace, which is a video diary of all your as-built condition. And most importantly is our 3D modeling, virtual design and construction software that we use to really facilitate during pre-construction to reduce unknown challenges during construction.
Great, the light's yellow. Go till it's red.
Well, I got a minute. I was going to open it up for Q&A. But just in terms of DeAngelis Diamond, we're excited about this project. One is that this project's going to serve our community. It's where we live. This is where our team members reside. It's where you all reside. So we're excited to be a part of that. We've done a lot of complex projects, very similar to this, from the hardening of the exterior, obviously mechanical and electrical systems, especially projects with a lot of redundancy like this one will require in terms of generators and so forth. But we're going to bring that experience from pre-construction all the way through construction. We're going to be at the table in every meeting looking after your best interest. This time I'd like to open it up for Q&A.
All right, questions? Got this in?
Could you give me an idea of what you think the time frame would be?
The
Complete the
overall
project?
duration.
Yep. Pardon?
The overall duration of construction? Yes, sir. So right now we're figuring right at 12 months from start to finish.
Thank you.
Go ahead, okay. So Schenkel Schultz is your architectural partner?
Yes.
And so I see you brought Mr. Paris here to have expertise in this type of a construction project. Do you think you can save us money by what you have experienced for a career when designing this building over the expertise of Schenkel Schultz, who, I don't know if they built this kind of product or not?
Well, as mentioned a little bit before, we have extensive, robust constructability reviews that we conduct prior to actually putting shovels in the dirt. And we look at areas that might have conflicts or areas where we might be able to give another alternative to the plan that's there that could potentially save money. But through our robust constructability, we're trying to identify those items in advance to enhance the construction experience.
Randy, we'll look at all of the systems. We've worked with Schenkel Schultz, and they've been a great partner. I think we've done close to 75 million, probably more than that with them. But we're going to look at mechanical systems. We'll look at electrical systems. We'll look at the structure. We do realize that the drawings are pretty far advanced. But we still have time to assist with some of those decisions.
I was
to
just
maximize
thinking that
savings.
with his law enforcement background, he might point out something that is like, you don't do it that way and save us money.
That's very possible because I have experience in fire, law enforcement, EMS, and emergency management. I worked in all those buildings over the past 35 years. I was in Collier County during the hurricanes, working in the Emergency Operations Center. I can tell you the things that work and don't work and give suggestions on where we might be able to make improvements.
Super. Noel had a question.
Have you built a police station before?
We built a police station. I think we've actually built a police station. I think we built most everything else.
Okay.
We built the emergency operations side of it.
Well, I was gonna ask you if you'd built a police station before, what type of special, equipment will this building need to serve the police force?
Well, obviously, if you're going to have an EOC, you'll have administrative offices. You may choose to have a gun range or EMS rooms for medical equipment for them. You'll have an armory. You'll have the items that you need in that law enforcement building that will need to be protected. So you'll have to have ventilation in there if you do decide to have the firing range. But there's a lot of different things that will be involved with that we can assist with.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, you got a minute?
So why DeAngelis Diamond? As I mentioned earlier, the team continuity, and I think that's really important. This team has worked together on numerous projects. I think the stat was close to 500 million. Look, we've got a lot of experience in projects very, very similar to this, from again, the hardening, the mechanical systems, the roof system, everything associated with this type of project. And we got a deep bench of resources, and that's really important to serve this project, in excess of 140 folks. And most of all, again, this is our community, and you guys have been a great partner, and we would be honored to have that opportunity to serve you again. And we'll work harder for you than anyone.
All right, anything else? Thank you, guys, appreciate it. Guess we can go ahead and cast our votes at this time.
Thank you.
Very nice. Okey-doke. Everybody finished casting their vote? All right. Executive Director, Ben.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, got a few comments. During October, we had 527 passengers that traveled through RSW. This, of course, was a significant increase over last October, actually a 70% increase since it was post-Hurricane Ian from October of 2022. It was also, though, it's important to note, though, it was the second best October that we had in our 41-year history. So it was a very good month for us. And year-to-date passenger traffic currently is down 7.4%. So we're actually making a pretty strong comeback on a calendar year. So we're very happy to see that. Pagefield saw 16,831 operations, which was a 68% increase compared to October 2022. Base operations at Pagefield sold 224,729 gallons of fuel in November of 2023, which was more than 22% over November of 2022. Fiscal year to date, fuel sales are up 5.4% compared to the same period of last year. Spirit Airlines, most of you probably have seen the press on this, inaugurated their new service to San Juan from RSW on Friday, December 15th. The flight was nearly full with 177 passengers, and there was a lot of singing and celebrating that was going on at the gate. Spirit, which has been serving RSW for now 30 years, reported that this was one of their best inaugurals that they've ever had. So that was nice of us to hear, and I'd like to compliment Vicki and her entire team for everything that they did on that. We have rolled out, for the second time now, we did this over Thanksgiving, but we rolled out our RSW remote parking program for Christmas and New Year's. This program received some really good media coverage, and we've already got over 450 reservations already through December 18th. And I'd just like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and look forward to working with you all next year. So
Super.
that's it. That's all I've got.
Port Authority.
Attorney.
No issues at this time, thank you.
Trained her well. Okay, well, I'd like to make some comments. First off, I think, Ben, you've been our executive director like 4 years, or is it 5 now?
It's 4 years.
Okay, and you ushered in COVID, burning up cars, hurricane. And as we start a new year, I'm looking forward to you just having a regular old airport.
Thank you.
And not having all these problems that you have managed extremely well.
Thank you.
I mean, it's unprecedented the kind of pressure you've been under personally as our executive director. When do all these things in a 4-year period have all this stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you that it takes a really good team, and I was maybe at the top of the team leading it, but there's no way I could have done it without an incredible team.
Obviously, but
and they're amazing to work with.
you're the leader.
Every day.
You
so,
get the good and the bad.
So.
Just the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, and we're just looking forward to another continued next year. And I think next year we should just have a year. And just
I'll
talk
take
about
it.
how many people and how many flights we had and how much money we made. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
where we're at this point. And I too would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And if any of the other committees got anything?
Just
Go
real
ahead,
quick,
Dana.
for the first time in 12 years, the Navy Blue Angels will be returning to the Southwest Florida International Air Show
Super.
November of 2025. So we're glad to get the Navy back.
A year, 2 more from now. Okay.
That's great news.
Anybody else? All right, well, we're going to hear from our favorite daughter, Marcia Ellis.
Marcia Ellis for the record, and I can appreciate the comment about the cars because I am your neighbor living just to the south on Alico Road, and when those cars were blowing up, we were seeing the great plumes of black smoke rolling up into the atmosphere and hearing those explosions all night long. And we share other things with the neighborhood, with the airport as your neighbors, and that includes the movement of Panther, which has brought me here today, as well as the land use and compatibility of the neighborhood with the addition of the third runway and the expansion. I'm concerned because I feel like that there is a lot of public outreach that has not yet happened that should happen with this new development. We know that with the noise zones and the flight paths that there are existing residences that will be impacted along the Esplanade, Los Palmos, et cetera. And those residences have come in pretty recently. Certainly since the initial 2014 study that was set with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife with the biological opinion, which is still, by the way, being used under the FDP 404 review, which is ongoing. I will say that I think this opinion is well written as it is not as fresh as we need, given all of the development pressures in the area and the significant loss of habitat. I'll just say that at a minimum, a panther is going to need in excess of 16, 20, 25, 30,000 acres, right? And in 2016, when this last biological opinion was written, there were 13 collared panthers within the 25-mile action area of the panther buffer. On page 16 of that biological opinion, it says that a reinitiation notice is needed if there's new information reveals that the agency action may affect species or the habitat to an extent that's not considered in this opinion. And with all of the development, and me as your neighbor, I don't even know what it is. You've heard me here asking for some help so that we can get a handle on this. We need to know. We need to know what the impacts are in terms of the habitat on this federally endangered species that we are all morally, ethically, and legally required to consider. On that same page, page 16, it continues that if a new species is listed, and we do have a new species that needs to be looked at, because I've been reviewing a number of the reports that have been coming out regarding the loss of large-scale habitat with the conversion of agricultural lands, et cetera. And so there is new information that needs to be brought into this biological opinion, and robust, oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Robust public outreach, if you could please assist me in that. Thank you.
All right,
Oh, and the circular too, 150.
thank you. Any comments? I'll just say that we only have control of the airport property, we only have control of the airport property, not surrounding areas of development.
Yes, but you have an obligation to follow the advisory circular when you're spending
Which
federal money.
we
It's not
do.
like that.
I appreciate your comments. I'm just, you know,
It's mandated.
if they were as good a stewards as we are, you wouldn't be up here even worried about it, because we are great stewards of our environment. But, any other comments? All right, then I guess we'll adjourn for the.
No, we
Oh,
got
publish the
results.
results. Sorry, I know you're all waiting for that. Come back next January.
Okay, in reference to LOQ 2404, Construction Manager, General Contractor Services for Southwest Florida International Airport Public Safety Building, the final ranking is as follows. Ranked number 1, Half Acre Construction Company, and tied for second place, DeAngelis Diamond and Stevens Construction.
All right.
Thank you.
So, do we accept those?
Yes, we have to.
I make a motion that we accept the selection as read.
Second? Dana, thank you. All right. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? We adjourn. Thank you, guys. Good meeting.